Carter.
Mr Speaker, to the Minister of Conservation, why did she sign off on a Cabinet paper which proposed removing 467,517 hectares of land from Schedule 4 of the Crown Minerals Act?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr Speaker, after a stocktake of Schedule 4, officials had recommended this figure. At the time, the Minister of Energy and Resources and I were satisfied with the recommendation as an initial basis for discussion at Cabinet. As the member knows, Cabinet subsequently reduced the proposal to a net addition of 5,000 hectares to Schedule 4 and finally decided to remove nothing from Schedule 4 and add 12,400 hectares.
The Honourable Chris Carter.
Mr Speaker,
Order.
Supplementary.
Honourable Chris Carter.
Mr Speaker, how does she reconcile her support for the removal of over 5,000 hectares of land from Schedule 4 protection when her statutory obligation under the Conservation Act to act as an advocate for the protection of New Zealand's unique natural heritage?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr Speaker, quite easily.
Nicky Wagner.
Mr Speaker, to the Minister of Conservation, what additional protections for conservation land have been agreed by the Government?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr Speaker, all land added to certain classes of protected areas will now be automatically added to Schedule 4 without the need for a separate process. We will also require significant applications to mine on public land to be publicly notified, an issue that emerged from the submissions process, which shows, Mr Speaker, that we were listening. This process has led to some significant gains.
The Honourable Chris
Speaker,
Carter.
how does she reconcile quite easily her support for the removal of over 5,000 hectares of land from Schedule 4 protection with her statutory obligation under the Conservation Act to act as an advocate for the protection of New Zealand's unique natural heritage?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr Speaker, I have always said that I was happy to have a discussion paper. It was always a discussion paper, not a decision paper. Happy to go out to the public for feedback and then happy to listen to that feedback.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.
The Honourable Chris Carter.
Mr Speaker, why didn't she, as Minister of Conservation, approach John Key to scrap the government's mining plans on protected Schedule 4 land, rather than leaving it to Jerry Brownlee to do so, as Mr Key told us happened yesterday?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
I think the member is making some misguided assumptions there. There were many discussions with Cabinet ministers and members about the submission process and the discussion paper and the public feedback that followed.
Question number 9, Louise Upston.